budget goals. In this one, you're going to be setting a goal for yourself, actually several different goals. All right. Now, you'll notice here that we have different time frames for our goals. We have a goal for in 6 months from now, a goal for 1 year from now, one 5 years from now, and one 10 years from now. All right. Now, the goals you're going to set for yourself need to be SMART goals, right? So, it shows them at the bottom. You may have encountered this in other classes. Okay, so a SMART goal, first of all, is going to be specific. So let's say you have a goal to buy a truck. Well, okay, that's great, but that's general. Be specific. What kind of truck? What year? What make and model? All right? What additions or options do you want on it? The reason is because with each one of these goals, we want to attach a price tag to it. Now, what this also means is I don't want a goal like, oh, I don't know, like I want to be happy someday, right? Or I want to get married, right? Because those are all well and good, don't get me wrong, but those are going to be rather vague and general, and we can't really put a price on it. All right. Now, the reason we want to put a price on it is because what we're talking about is budgeting money. All right. And we're trying to meet the goals that you have and budget the money necessary to meet these goals that you have. If there is no dollar figure attached to it that is required in order to be able to achieve that goal, then there's no point in doing this, right, for the budgeting. So while you might have a goal to get married at some point in time, that's great. Hold on to that. But that's not the sort of goal we're looking at for the purposes of this project, right? So let's say that it would be something, instead of getting married in general, right, you're thinking of the general concept of being married, well, we say instead like having a wedding here, right, in such and such place, right? Because if you do that, then we can actually figure out what the price of it would generally be, right? If you want to get married, like, let's say on the beach in Hawaii in the middle of the summer, something like that, right? Then you can start looking up the prices for Hawaiian vacations, and if you're going to be transporting people there, what the prices on that would be, right? So if you want to get like into a specific venue, that would work. Okay, so your goals need to be specific. Try to drill them down as much as possible into as much specificity as possible. So, like, you don't just want a phone. No. You want an iPhone 12 with so much memory. You don't just want a computer. You want a PC laptop with a touch screen and so much memory, right? Stuff like that, because then you can actually determine what the price of that item is going to be. Or if you want to do something like go on a vacation, what is the price of that going to be? All right. So actual prices will be involved. Okay, and so your goal needs to be measurable. By measurable here, we're talking about the prices, because that is something we can measure, and we can also measure how close you're getting to being able to achieve that goal. All right, your goals need to be attainable. And what we mean by this is that it's something that you can actually pull off, right? This is actually really attached to that R, the realistic. We're not talking about stretch goals here, like I want to be a multi-millionaire someday, or I want to have a gigantic, 50-room house, or own a Lamborghini, or something like that. We're not talking about stuff that you hope to be able to achieve someday off into the future. We're talking about goals that are realistically attainable for you within the time frames involved. All right, so these aren't stretch goals we're looking for, all right, or hopeful goals. These are going to be more realistic and attainable goals. All right, sometimes with R, when they people do SMART goals, they say relevant, which means relevant to you. So this is what you want to do. And then finally, time bound, which is going to be there's a time frame and a deadline that's involved. All right. So, you want to come up with a goal for 1 year from now, a goal that you want to be able to meet in 5 years from now, and then one you want to meet 10 years from now. All right, the personal goal is what it is you want to do, right? So it could be in 6 months you want to get a computer when you go off to college. It could be that you want to have enough money saved up for the first year or semester of college. It could be that you want to have enough money to be able to buy something or go on a vacation or something like this. All right, now it doesn't have to be exactly 6 months. You can be a little bit flexible on the time frame, right? I'm talking about like when you graduate, or if you're going to go off to college or do trade school or military or whatever. Right, it's going to be a little bit flexible on the 6 months. We're talking like half a year-ish period from now. How much? What's your goal going to be? And then the financial goal should be a dollar figure. This is the money that will be needed to achieve the goal at the time. All right. So the personal goal is what do you want to be able to do or want to be able to buy. And the financial goal is the amount of money required at that time to be able to achieve the personal goal. Okay. Now, with some things, let's say that you want to buy a car, but you expect to take out a loan. Well, if you're going to take out a loan, then you want 10 to 20% down of what the purchase price is going to be of the vehicle. All right, so you want to say you have enough money saved up for that. So if you want to buy a $30,000 truck, that means you would need 10% down, which is $3,000 saved up before you buy the truck. Bearing in mind you have monthly payments afterwards, but that's how much money you would have saved up by the outset. All right, same thing with a house. You're looking at 10 to 20% if you're thinking about that. If it's going to be rent an apartment, sometimes people do that. Well, okay, you want to rent a so-and-so bedrooms apartment at this particular place in this particular location. And let's say you want to have, 3 or 4 months rent built up, right? See how much it is for deposits, security deposits, and pet deposits and whatnot. And also 3 months rent built up, right? Saved up. Because you usually want to have a little bit of money in the bank when it comes to renting, just in case something goes wrong. Let's say you lose your job, you don't want to lose your apartment, so you might need a couple of months rent built up so that you can pay for that in an emergency scenario. So let's say you want to have that sort of money built up, okay? So the age will be, right, and each one of these time frames, the personal goal, what you want to be able to do or what you want to be able to buy, and then the financial goal is the amount of money you will need at the time to do it. Okay. Now, do some investigation. There are sites out there that will tell you how much homes are worth in certain places. They will also tell you what rents are like in certain places. And right, don't just guess. A lot of times people are surprised at how much certain things cost. Right, you think that rent will be such and such in a particular place, and so until you start looking at the rent in those places, you discover it's quite different. Same thing with home prices, or truck prices, or car prices, or anything else. Sometimes prices are higher than what you might have thought they were. So don't just guess. Actually do some investigation and look it up. Again, we're trying to do something practical here. So these are going to be actual goals you have and actually trying to help you save money for them. So try to be as accurate as possible because this is something that could actually help you realistically in 6 months to a year.